right. So once again, peace and blessings unto all. Happy Sabbath. Hope everybody had a blessed week. We know that the week is in the likeness of, all right, that the week is in the likeness of the earth cycle. All right. And we know that the Father has told us that it's 7,000 years and Christ will be here, right, for the seventh day, right, 1,000 year reign, right, which is going to be the 7,000 year, and then brings us to the 8,000, where we're going to have a new earth and a new heaven. All right. So the days of the week are in likeness of what we know as the earth cycle. All right. The earth is not millions of years old. And this is why God does this, because man, if he doesn't embed it in nature where it can't move, then man will go and be like, oh, this is millions of years old, this years old. But everything, the gospel, everything is framed right in the laws of nature. We know that by law of nature, we have a year. Right, the year is split into 52 weeks. We went into our calendar lesson and showed that it's really 364, right, and that a year is really 360 because it's a cycle, right, and the cycle, right, is a spin, right, 360. But then we have 4 days for the seasons, and on those days the sun is changing, so there's no movement, so it's pausing. So it's really 360, but because we have 4 seasonal days, it's 364. All right. 52 weeks of 7 days. The 7 days is once again a cycle of the earth cycle, as he's given us 7,000 years, right? God made the earth in 7 days, so that's the first 7,000 to make it. And then we're going on the process of 7,000 of completion. Christ will be here on the 7th day, right? And then we have the new earth and new heaven on the 8th day. All right. So once again, what we do in the week is a reminiscence of what we'll be like in the earth cycle. All right. So if we're here on the 7th day, if we're observing the 8th day, then we're looking forward to those actual days when they come. All right. So just once again, where you are on these days is of importance, because if you're not focused on God, all right, and you're not there on the 7th day, then what makes you think you'll be there on the 7th day? All right. Or on the new heaven and the new earth. Right. So being on these days are in likeness of the week. So just a reminder, right, that you want to endure. The world has you relaxing as you get to the end of the week. If you want to relax, I tell people use Monday, Tuesday, then ramp up. Do not use the weekend as that, because once again, the week is in the likeness of where you'll be in the future. The 7th and the 8th day is the days to prepare yourself for Christ and the coming of Christ, right? In those beginning days, right, you fall into that, but as well, right, he sent them to warn that the kingdom of heaven is at hand and to get themselves prepared. And that happened all in the 6th day, coming into that 6th day. All right. So once again, peace and blessings unto all. We're about to go into our lesson. And we'll be back after our intro.
Only the children of light is gonna understand this.
For there are 3 philosophical sects among the Jews, the followers of the first of which are the Pharisees, of the second, the Sadducees, and the third sect, and the third sect, and the third sect, which pretends to a severer discipline, are called the Essenes. These last are Jews by birth, and Jews by birth, and
This is a knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. This is a knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. This is a knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. Taking it back to the way that it was in the beginning.
Once again, peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Happy Sabbath, happy Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. We want to say first and foremost, all praises be unto the Most High Almighty, Ahaya Shahaya Christ, who the world calls Jesus Christ. This is the Essene Community Church of Christ. My name is Archbishop Shamar.
And I'm Bishop Arak.
And we be bringing you today's Sabbath report / lesson. All right, and it's going to be an important one, a very important lesson, more important than people might think. All right, as we all know, we're in the summer season, all right, but in different places, there's other seasons. We have summer season, we have winter season, but then there's places that have hurricane season, all right, storms, these things, all right. And we're going to see that these things all involve the wind, all right. And you're going to see that wind is a direct connection to the Most High's power, and certain things that we do brings about different winds. And people might not understand that. All right. And we're going to see that these things are a mystery. All right. And God reveals it to those, right, who he's dealing with. All right. So once again, we have an important lesson today. It's the mysteries of God, the understanding of the wind. So we're going to go into understanding the wind, how that coincides with God, his worship, obedience, all right, disobedience. All right, and the different types of winds that are out there. All right, so this is a very lengthy lesson, as you're going to see, and we're going to have to be doing this in increments at a time. We'll probably have lessons in between, right? But we're honing in on the wind, and we're going to see an importance because this is affecting a lot of places. All right. The Caribbeans are affected by hurricanes, all right? Hurricane season's all over there. If you're going to go over there for a cruise, they're going to tell you what time to go over there and what season not to go over there because they can't be in those waters because hurricanes coming. We just had Hurricane Beryl just storm through the islands, all right? It's just making its way through Florida. I don't know where else it's making its way through, all right? But you're going to understand that these are different winds. A hurricane is a cause of wind. All right. And this has to do with God's influence, God's power. All right. But you're going to also see that the wind is symbolic. All right. What is this wind symbolic of? All right. The same thing that it does to the earth is the same thing it will do to your life. All right. When he brings disastrous winds and different things of that nature. All right. So we're going to go into the physical aspect of the wind. We're going to go into the spiritual aspect of the wind and how it all coincides with your belief and faith in the Most High. So once again, this is the mysteries of God, understanding of the wind. We're going to go right to Isaiah 53 and 1.
This is the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 1. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
All right, so who's going to believe our report, our lesson? All right, what's a report? You see the news report. If you don't believe the news, what's out there, then how is going to, if you don't believe the news, then some things outside is not going to help you. If you don't believe the news on the weather, what's it's telling you, right? Then and weather comes and it happens. All right, so you got to believe certain news, all right? The news of the Lord. The Lord is sending out his prophets with news. Who's going to believe their report? This is something Isaiah had to ask, all right? Who is the arm of the Lord revealed? That means the power of God. All right, who is the power of God been revealed onto? All right, many times people, when you're dealing with God, they're going to ask, if you're dealing with God, show me something, show me some power, show me some this. This is what they did in the Old Testament. All right, and God granted a lot of signs under his prophets, Moses, etc., etc. All right, in the wilderness. All right, Christ came, he said, an adulterous and wicked nation seeketh a sign. No sign going to be given it to it but the sign of Jonah. All right, and that's his dying and his resurrection, which has happened. All right, so that sign now, it ain't going to be physical like that. He'll still give signs, which is confirmation. He gives confirmation now, confirmation of the Spirit. He sent the Holy Spirit in Acts 2. All right, and different confirmations to bring people to faith, right? But that shouldn't be how you turn into belief. That's to strengthen your faith. You should already have that faith, right, without needing the sign. All right, so many people ask for the sign to show that you have the power of the Lord, all right? But now in the New Testament, we're understanding that things are spiritual, all right? This power as well stems into law, all right? Who can show the power of the law? The Most High, which is also includes the law. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go into the scriptures to ensure that they're interpreted, translated, and taught correctly. We're at Sirach 1 and 6, which is Ecclesiasticus, which was taken out of the Bible, all right? But it is in your KJV 1611 Bible. All right, so this is supposed to be between the Old Testament and the New Testament. All right, you need this book as well as the book of Josephus to get the full chronicles and stories of Christ leading up before and even after Christ's death and resurrection. All right, so that being said, we're at Sirach, which is Ecclesiasticus 1 and 6.
This is the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 1, starting at the 6th verse. To whom had the root of wisdom been revealed, or who had known her wise counsels? Unto whom had the knowledge of wisdom been made manifest, and who had understood her great experience?
All right, so this is a question, all right? Who has the root of wisdom been revealed? Why is it saying that? Because if someone's going to teach you or tell you about God, they're going to need the wisdom of God. All right, and if they're going to need the wisdom of God, they're going to need to know wisdom. If they don't know wisdom and the root of wisdom, then you just have to be mindful of how much information you're taking from them, because obviously they don't know wisdom as well. All right, one of these key things is if they're telling you that the Holy Spirit or holy wisdom is a masculine energy in the Godhead, which is incorrect, incorrect. All right. Holy Spirit is a feminine energy, all right, in the Godhead. All right. A mother in the Godhead, Father, Son, and then it says Holy Spirit. That's a mystery once again. All right. It's easy. Father, mother, even a child can get that. All right. All right. Father, Son, what's missing? All right. Holy Spirit. All right. The mystery. She's the mother. All right. So if someone doesn't know that root and understanding of the Godhead, then you just have to be mindful of how much information you're taking. Not to say that you're not going to get something right, but you have to be mindful of how much right that you're taking from them, because they can't have everything right if they don't know the fullness of wisdom, who she is, her root, bring you to the scriptures, right? Let you know how she coincides with the Father, what is the Godhead, things of that nature. All right. So once again, we understand wisdom. We know who she is. All right. So this is why she allows us to have certain understanding. And one of these understanding is here, the mysteries of God, understanding of the wind. And you're going to see that the understanding of the wind is a mystery. All right. So we're at John 3 and 7. We're going to go right into it. All right. So we're at section A, and this is just understanding that, first of all, the wind is a mysterious force. The wind is mysterious. All right. It's a mysterious force of nature. All right, let's go.
Section A, the wind is a mysterious force. No man can tell or understand where the wind comes from and where it goes. This is the book of St. John, chapter 3, starting at the 7th verse. Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh and whither it goeth. So is every one that is born of the Spirit.
All right, so Christ always uses law of nature. All right, so he was breaking down baptism. Someone was marveled. They're like, I didn't understand how, someone could be born again. You got to go in your mother again. You got to do all of that. He breaks that down, and they're kind of, baffled. They're like, oh, my goodness. Right, and he said, marvel not that I said you got to be born again. And then he breaks down the wind. All right, he said, the wind blow it, all right, where it listeth, thou hear it, the sound. All right, so you're hearing the sound, but you can't tell where it's coming from, right? You can't tell where it's going. And it says then he brings it to a physical person. So is everyone born of the Spirit. So everyone who's born of the Spirit, the same way, they're going to be mysterious, right? You're not going to be able to observe them the way you think with your carnal eyes, right? You're not going to really understand them, all right? Because they're doing things of the Spirit. You got to understand the gospel. You might think they're not able to do this and that. And you're like, oh, I don't think they're able to do this and that. You don't know the fullness of the gospel to tell the person who's born of the Spirit all the things that they can do. All right. So he's just letting them know that a person of the Spirit is as mysterious as the wind. And don't marvel that I told you about certain things, because I'm the person born of the Spirit that's telling you these things that's making you marvel. But once again, he's mysterious just like the wind. So Christ was explaining that he's mysterious just like the wind because he's born of the Spirit. And what he's going to tell you is mysterious things that you might not be able to comprehend. All right. So someone born of the Spirit is just like the wind, mysterious like the wind. Someone born of the Spirit is going to be mysterious just like the wind. All right. So it's going to be hard to observe such a person like that. All right, we're at Enoch 41 and 3. All right, and how we know that? Because when Christ came and he was doing certain things that wasn't yet revealed in the law, they were thinking that he was sinning. right? Things that he was doing on the Sabbath, right? He was doing certain things and hanging around certain people, and they're thinking he couldn't do it, but he was doing things that he understood on a higher level than they, and they were thinking he couldn't do certain things, right? So this goes back to they had to ask him personally so that he can give them a reason of why he's doing that. All right, always ask the person, why you do this? Why you do that? Don't assume. And the scriptures always say, hey, the person who's doing it gotta be ready to give reason why you doing what you doing. If you don't know what you're doing, why are you doing it? Because when someone asks you, you gotta be ready to give reason. This is why I do what I do. All right. So that gives way to the person to ask before you make a judgment. All right, so we're at Enoch 41 and 3.
It's the book of the prophet Enoch, chapter 41, starting at the 3rd verse. Excuse me. And their mine eyes saw the secrets of the lightning and of the thunder and the secrets of the winds, how they are divided to blow over the earth, and the secrets of the clouds and dew. And there I saw from whence they proceeded in that place, and from whence they saturate the dusty earth. And there I saw closed chambers out of which the winds are divided, and the chamber of the hail and winds, the chamber of the mist and of the clouds, and the cloud thereof hovers over the earth from the beginning of the world.
All right, so Enoch was brought up and he was starting to see different mysteries. All right, and he's telling you there his eyes saw the secrets of the lightning. So the way the lightning operate, that's a secret. All right, and of the thunder. All right, he saw the secrets of the winds. All right, and that's what we're dealing with today, the secret of the winds. All right, how they are divided and how they blow over the earth. So we're going into how the wind blows over the earth, what they mean, what type of winds. This is what we're going into. All right, but as well, there's secrets of the clouds and the dew, all right, from where they proceed. So you see them coming from somewhere. They're starting from somewhere, all right? So Enoch's seen where they started from, all right? You just see them moving across you, but they're coming from somewhere, all right? So Enoch's seen where they come from, all right? He saw the secret of the dew. So if you don't know dew, that's the when you come outside in the morning, there's no rain, and you go in the grass and you feel the grass and it's wet. That's the dew. All right, it didn't rain or nothing, but you felt the grass wet. You see that frost over it. That's dew. All right, and that was actually watering the plants before there was rain in the beginning. All right, it was just dew over the earth. There's no rain. All right, and he showed them where they proceed in that place from. All right, and how they saturate the dusty earth. So how they go over and how they saturate all over the earth. All right, and there he saw also closed chambers, which the winds are divided. So he's seen certain chambers up in the heavens. All right, that the winds are divided in. All right, he's seen chamber of hail and winds. All right, chamber of mist. All right, and of clouds. All right, and he's seen the cloud thereof hovers over the earth from the beginning of the world. So he's seen from the beginning of the world, all right, at one of the ends of the world, he's seen that's where the clouds are coming out from. All right, we're at Enoch 52 and 3. And it's important to believe this, because if you don't, once again, you're going to be left with, it's either we're going to believe how God frames our mind to look at reality, or you're going to believe what's out here, which you got to be aware, because the Bible tells you about the deceiver, the devil, who's going to tell you opposite of what you're seeing, all right, and what you haven't seen, all right. So we take witness testimony from the prophets as they have sworn by the Holy Spirit that these things are true, all right. And even in educational books, you have to understand that what's in your educational book, and when it comes to law, they haven't sworn under oath that that thing is true, all right. They haven't put that and sworn under seal that the thing that they've written in the educational book is true. All right. When we have testaments and testimonies, those are sworn testimonies. All right. So the prophet stuff, they're sworn that they're to be true. Your educational books, none of those teachers are swearing that if you find something wrong in there, you can hold them accountable in the court of law. All right. So we have to understand the difference of what we're learning from and where we're getting true information from when it regards to law. So someone's going to tell you something true, and you want to hold them accountable, you have to make them swear and get a seal. If they don't swear and get a seal or sign on a contract, what they're saying to you could be false. And they're not holding themselves accountable, meaning if you find something in error, you can hold me accountable by what I have told you. All right, and you do those through the form of what's called affidavits. All right, where you're affirming that this thing that I'm saying is true. All right, so once again, anyone who's in the position of spiritual position, they've already took an oath and sworn that they're going to deal with God's truth and tell his truth. All right, so we're just understanding those things. All right, so we're at Enoch 52 and 3.
This is the book of Enoch, chapter 52, starting at the 3rd verse. And I asked the angel who went with me, saying, what things are these which I have seen in secret? And he said unto me, all these things which thou hast seen shall serve the dominion of his anointed, that he may be potent and mighty on the earth. And that angel of peace answered, saying unto me, wait a little, and there shall be revealed unto thee all the secret things which surround the Lord of spirits.
All right, so he's asking the angel, he's like, what are these things that he's seeing in secret? All right, he's saying, the angel saying unto him, these things you see serve the dominion of his anointed, that he may be potent and mighty on earth. So they serve God, that he may be potent and mighty on earth. All right, that's how he can send storm, thunder, whatever at you, because all these elements of nature, they serve the Most High. And who serves the Most High, all right, they also begin to serve as well. All right, but they serve the Most High that he may be mighty and potent on earth. These are his weapons of warfare. That's what we're going to understand. Nature is the Most High's weapons of warfare. All right, we're at Enoch 60 and 11.
It's the book of Enoch, chapter 60, starting at the 11th verse. And the other angel who went with me and showed me what was hidden told me what is first and last in the heaven in the height, and beneath the earth in the depth, and at the ends of the heaven, and on the foundation of the heaven, and the chambers of the winds, and how the winds are divided, and how they are weighed, and how the portals of the winds are reckoned, each according to the power of the wind, and the power of the lights of the moon, and according to the power that is fitting, and the divisions of the stars according to their names, and how all the divisions are divided, and the thunders according to the places where they fall, and all the divisions that are made among the lightnings, that it may lighten, and their host, that it may at once obey.
All right, so the other angels, they're showing him all these things that are hidden. They're showing Enoch, all right? They're showing him the height of heaven, all right? The breadth of the earth, how deep it is, all right? The ends of heaven, the foundation of heaven, all right? He's seen the chambers of the winds, how they are divided. Once again, the chambers of the winds are divided. You can see that they're divided into 4, all right? How they are weighed, all right? And how the portals of the winds are reckoned according to the power of the wind. Each wind, all right, has a certain power. We're going to go through all the different powers of the wind. All right, and this is the topic that we're holding on, but as well, there's powers of the lights and the moon, all right, according to that's fitting, all right, the stars, divisions of the lightning, how they fall, all right, all these things that obey the Most High. All right, we're going to go to Enoch 69 and 21.
This is the book of Enoch, chapter 69, verse 21. And through that oath the stars complete their course, and he calls them by their names, and they answer him from eternity to eternity. And in the like manner the spirits of the water and of the winds, and all the zephyrs and their paths from all the quarters of the winds.
All right, so and in like manner the spirits of the water and the winds. All right, so the Most High, he's calling the winds all by their name, all these things by their names. All right, the stars by their names. All right, in like manner the spirits of the water, the wind. So there's a spirit in the water, spirits of the winds. All right, the zephyrs. Zephyr, when you go into that, that's the west wind. All right, I guess they use that Greek mythology word there, but zephyrs go back to the west wind. All right, specific west wind. All right, and their paths from all quarters of the wind. All right, so Zephyr, when you go into Greek mythology, is a god that controlled and ruled over the west winds. All right. So these are all right. So the Most High knows the names of all of them. So the spirit of the wind. So the wind also has spirit. All right. So we're gonna go as well now to 2 Samuel 22:7, and we're gonna go into some examples.
This is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 22, starting at the 7th verse. In my distress I called upon the Lord and cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations of heaven moved and shook, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and a fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind.
Hold on.
One moment.
All right. So once again, in his distress, all right, David is showing how he called upon the Lord. He cries unto his God. All right. God hears his voice out of his temple. All right. David's cries enter into God's ears.
Samuel 2.
All right. Samuel as well too. Yes. All right. And then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of heaven moved and shook because he was wroth. Right. Smoke comes out of his nostrils, fire out of his mouth devoured. All right. He bowed also to the heavens. He came down. Darkness was under his feet. All right. And he's seeing the Lord fly. He's seeing the Lord coming. He's seeing the Lord with wings of the wind. So we're going to see that the winds have wings, and we're going to get into what this is. All right. So we're going to go further into Hosea 4:17.
This is the book of the prophet Hosea chapter 4, starting at the 17th verse. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. Their drink is sour. They have committed whoredom continually. Her rulers with shame do love. Give ye. The wind had bound her up in her wings, and they shall be ashamed because of their sacrifices.
All right. So the wind has bound her up in her wings. So you're going to understand the wind has wings. This is what's actually, the wind allows things to hover. All right. So the wind could come and it could take you. It could bring you up with it. It could make you fly. This is what's making all the birds and everything else fly. It's the wind outside. It's the wind above us. All right. But the wind also can become strong enough where she can take you up into her wind and take you up there as well, and bring you up to where as well you'll be stuck up there. All right. So the Most High uses that in various instances, all right, where you see the wings of the wind. All right. And people being taken up into the wind. All right. And being able to once again hover in the wind. That's the wind keeping you up. All right. So when you're up there and you drop out the plane, you're just going to fall down. So you're not in the wings of the wing. All right. There. All right. To be in the winds of the wing, the wing of the winds means that you're going to be up in the air in the wind, and she's holding you up. All right. So we're at Proverbs 30:4.
This is the book of Proverbs chapter 30, verse 4. Who hath ascended up into heaven or descended? Who had gathered the wind in his fist? Who hath bound the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell?
All right, so Solomon here is explaining, all right, who has ascended up into heaven or descended? All right, we know that's Christ. All right, who has gathered the wind in his fist? So God is able to gather the winds, and look how powerful they are, those different winds. He's able to put that into his fist. And once again, fist, arm, showing his power. All right, he able to hold that and grab that and make sure it's not going anywhere, showing how much power is in the arm of the Lord. All right. Who has bound the waters in a garment? So he's saying, yo, he's able to even put water and keep it bound into a garment. All right. And restrict it. He's the one restricting water. No one can restrict water like that. All right. Who has established all the ends of the earth? All right. So all the ends of the earth. All right. And the ends of the earth are on foundations. God established those foundations. All right. What is his name? What is the Father's name? And what is his son's name? And who can tell these things? All right. So even the Father and the Son's name is a mystery. All right. That's a mystery for another day. But we know that mystery. All right. But if you don't know, we could go further into elaborating. All right. We're at Ecclesiastes 1 and 6.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes out of the Bible, chapter 1, verse 6. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits.
All right. So the wind goeth toward the south. It turneth about to the north. It turneth about continually. All right. And it returneth again according to his circuit. So the wind has a circuit. It goes out, it goes all around, and it comes back to where it comes from. All right. We're going to go into further examples. All right. So we're at Genesis 8 and 1.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 8, verse 1. And God remembered Noah and every living thing, and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged.
All right. So we're going to go into that. So we're seeing the flood here. When there was a flood and the waters was up there, all right, God made a wind to pass over the earth. So the wind passed over the earth that made the waters assuage. So we're going to go into what that is. All right. What did it make the waters do? Obviously, we know it made the waters recess, go back. All right. But let's go into the definition.
Assuage definition. This is Hebrew word H7918. Shakak. Shakak, a primitive word, a primitive root to weave, that is, lay a trap, figuratively, through the idea of secreting, to allay passions, physically abate a flood, appease, assuage, make to cease, pacify, set.
All right. So abate is to reduce. All right. So physically to reduce a flood. He physically reduced the flood with the wind. That's what he used. So we're just seeing once again that God uses his power. All right. He uses the forces of nature. All right. And wind has a very direct force. It has a powerful force. Imagine we have a flood on the earth. It's flooded. And God comes. He doesn't use a mop or nothing like me does. He just like, yo, get the wind, yo. All that wind, blow it, all that away. All right. So he uses the wind to pass over the earth and to reduce the floods of the earth. All right. So God used the wind to reduce the floods of the earth. All right. So we're just going to go into abate etymology.
This is the etymology for abate, which is a verb from the 1300 or 13th century, abaten, quote, to put an end to, end quote. Early 14th century, quote, to grow less, diminish in power or influence, end quote. Intransitive from Old French, abattre, quote, beat down, cast down, strike down, fell, destroy, abolish, reduce, lower, end quote. From Latin vulgar, abatere, from Latin ad, to, see ad, plus battuere, which is to beat. The French literal sense of, quote, to fell, slaughter, end quote, is in abatis or abitor.
All right. So he beat down. All right. He strike down, abolished, reduced the flood with the wind. All right. That's the power that he has in the wind. So he used the wind to push back the floods. And that's how we got the earth now, where it's, the flood reduced. All right. So we're at Enoch 34 and 1.
This is the book of Enoch, chapter 34, starting at the first verse. And from thence I went towards the north to the ends of the earth, and there I saw a great and glorious device at the ends of the whole earth. And here I saw 3 portals of heaven open in the heaven. Through each of them proceeded north winds, and when they blow there is cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, and rain. And out of one portal they blow for good, but when they blow through the other 2 portals, it is with violence and affliction on the earth, and they blow with violence.
All right, so we're seeing here, all right, he went towards the north to the ends of the earth, and he saw a great glorious device at the ends of the whole earth. He saw 3 portals of heaven, all right, in the north, all right, which proceeds north winds. All right, when they blow, there is cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, rain. So all of those are coming from the portals of the north winds in the north. All right, out of one portal, all right, they blow for good. So one portal out of these portals in the north, all right, they blow for good. But out of the other 2, when it's blowing out through there, all right, all that cold, that hail, that frost, that snow, that dew, that is for violence and affliction on the earth. And they blow with violence. So those are very aggressive winds that are coming from the north out of 2 portals. There's only one portal that blows good wind that's coming from the north. All right. We're going to go further. We're going to go to Enoch 52 and 3.
This is the book of the prophet Enoch, chapter 52, starting at the 3rd verse. And I asked the angel who went with me, saying, What things are these which I have seen in secret? And he said unto me, All these things which thou hast seen shall serve the dominion of his anointed, that he may be potent and mighty on the earth.
All right. So this once again stressing again that these things are all serving God so that he can be potent and mighty on earth. All right. So through nature, we get the warning of God. And this is what happened before the flood, that they got warning through nature, disasters. And everyone's just like, oh, it's just nature. It just happened. This is God sending his warning. This is how God warns us. All right. Through these destructions, natural destructions, that, hey, God is upset with us. But if we look at it and be like, yo, there's nothing, and we ignore it and be like, oh, it's just a regular day. It's just, oh, it's sad. And we're going to understand that we're quickly going to come under destruction just like they did at the time of the flood. All right. So we're going to go to section B. All right. We're going to go to the east wind. And we're going to see that the east wind is used for rebellion and destruction. All right. So when a nation is misbehaving, when people are misbehaving, all right, the east wind is going to blow, and the east wind, all right, is being sent by the Most High. All right, so we're going to go to Genesis 41, and we're going to look at some examples in the scriptures.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 1, right at the top. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke, and he slept and dreamt the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream.
All right, so Pharaoh's having dreams right now. All right, Pharaoh dream, he's standing by a river, right? You see 7 well-mannered kines, right? Fed in the meadow, right? He sees 7 other kine that came out after them by the river, ill-favored, lean-fleshed, all right? Stood by the other kine, the brink, all right? The ill-fleshed and the lean kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. All right, so that's the ones that are not, not looking real healthy. They ate up the ones that are looking healthy. So he sees 7 healthy ones, 7 not healthy ones. The not healthy one eats up the 7 healthy, right, cattle. All right, Pharaoh awakes. He goes back to bed a second time. All right, he dreams a second time. He sees 7 ears of corn come up on one stalk, all right, and rank good. And behold, 7 thin ears. And then it was blasted with the east wind and sprung up after them. So you keep seeing these 2 examples of, one good, that's one, and then the next 7, and then this 7 is being blasted with east wind that's being sprung up after them. All right, and the 7 ears were devoured. All right, and he woke up and he's wondering what's going on. This is a dream. So we're going to see this kind of breaking down for him. All right, and we're at Genesis 41 and 22.
Continuing on in the same chapter, it's the book of Genesis, chapter 41, beginning at the 22nd verse. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good, and behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me.
All right, so we're going to see with these dreams and stuff, you got to understand that people can't really interpret their dreams. So if you're going to someone to interpret the dream, you got to go to a prophet of God. And God, once again, is telling that prophet directly how to interpret that dream. All right, but we're seeing magicians, none of them, they couldn't interpret the dream for the Pharaoh. All right, because dreams, they come from God. And in order to interpret it, you're going to need a messenger of God. But once again, there's fake messengers sent out. But if they're not a messenger of God, then this is where you got to beware. All right. You have to understand. This is why it goes back to who's going to believe the report. You have to put your eyes on to be like, you know what? Is this person observing the scriptures? Do they go to church? Or are they just doing dreams and breaking down dreams for you? All right. What good is that? All right. Are they part of the community? Is this one thing that they do? Maybe, you know, they're part of a community. Maybe they do that. But it shouldn't just be they're just dealing with dreams for you. All right. Because once again, right, Joseph and all of these people and Daniel, they're all dealing with the Most High, right? And they were allotted this because of their faith in the Most High and their devotion to what he's doing, all right? And then once again, to help somebody, right, bring them to the Most High. All right, so we're going to go further. Continue for us.
Verse 25, correct? Yeah. Verse 25, and Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God hath he showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. All right, verse 26. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showed unto Pharaoh.
All right, so he was showing them, all right, that there's 7 good years, 2 7 good years, and these other years that he's seen blasted with the east wind, these are, and he's seen it blasted with the east wind, that these are years of famine. So just once again, that the east wind signifies destruction, famine, all of that. All right, so when he seen that in his dream, he was to acknowledge, right, to understand that, hey, but who could know the what all the winds mean? All right, so it's very easy once you know what God puts these things and make them mean. That's how he was able to do it. So we understand what the east wind is by going to Enoch, but at this time they didn't understand what the east wind was. So when he seen it blasted with a wind coming from the east, he doesn't know that, hey, this means destruction, famine, all of that. All right, so he gets broken down that which he's seen blasted with the east wind, that meant 7 years of famine. The 7 corn blasted with the east wind meant 7 years of famine. All right, so this once again, east wind symbolizes famine, destruction, rebellion. All right, so we're gonna go to Exodus 10 and 12.
This is the book of Exodus chapter 10, starting at the 12th verse. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail hath left. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts.
All right, so we're seeing again, all right, when famine was coming into to Egypt, all right, and Moses is there and he's using this power. And we got to believe it, because once again, it's going to come a time where we're going to need these powers. Moses, all of them, they had to believe in this and believe that the Most High is defending them. Moses believed this, all right, puts forth his rod over Egypt, all right. The Most High is bringing the east wind over the land, and he brings it all day, all night, till locust fills up the whole land of Egypt. All right, so that was the east wind that brought locusts into the land of Egypt. All right, continue for us.
Verse 12. Verse 14. And the locusts went up all over the land of Egypt, and rested in all the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such.
All right, so there was no locust light. These are special locusts. All right, God sent over with the east wind. All right, that destroyed up over there. All right, so the east wind he used for destruction, famine. He brought the insects, all of that with the east wind. All right, but continue for us.
Verse 15, for they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left, and there remained not any green thing in the trees, or in the herbs of the field, through all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste, and he said, I have sinned against the Lord your God, and against you.
All right, so these are the things he was doing against a nation, because they'd be like, oh, who are you? Who are you? When they're like, all right, you think it's a joke? This is what we do. We send a message to the nation, an official message. They're thinking it's playing. The prophet's time now to go do his thing. You know, they rejected the word of the Lord. The Lord is the one that's going to convince the people. You know, it's never them that's, oh, I'm going to fight them. All right, you don't believe? Here's this was happening. When this is happening to their whole land now they're forced to go back to the individual who this is all coming from. They're like, it's coming from him. They need to stop it. Their people is famine. Their people is dying. The crops is eating up. All right, so now they're taking him serious. All right, so these things, once again, will all transpire again in the earth. As even in Revelations, he says he's going to give power onto his 2 witnesses, all right, to bring about these things. So that time is coming again. All right. So we're going to continue. We're at Exodus 10 and 17.
Now therefore forgive, I pray thee, my only sin this once, and entreat the Lord your God that he may take away from me this death only. And he went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord. And the Lord turned a mighty strong west wind, which took away the locusts and cast them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the coast of Egypt. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go.
All right. So he's saying, yo, he called for Moses. He prayed. He's like, yo, pray, forgive me this one sin. You know what I mean? He went out, he entreated the Lord for Pharaoh. All right. The Most High brought a strong, mighty west wind. All right. So the west wind. So the east wind brought the famine. He took the west wind, and the west wind removed the famine. All right. So the west wind removed the famine. A strong, mighty west wind took the locusts out of the land and cast them in the Red Sea. All right, so we're seeing the Most High use the different winds of his power for different things. All right, the east wind brought in the famine, the west wind strong enough to remove all of it. All right, we're going to go to Exodus 15 and 9.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 9. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, and my hand will destroy them. Thou didst blow with thy wind. The sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like unto thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Thou stretchest out thy right hand. The earth swallowed them.
All right, so once again, all right, they were singing a song, Moses, and he's going back to what they're in Egypt, and when Pharaoh then was pursuing them, all right, and God used his wind again. He blew with the wind, all right, the sea covered them, all right, they sank as lead in the mighty waters, all right. You're gonna have to understand that all these things here, all right, because it's the Most High doing it, but you're gonna see that these forces of nature, what is nature? We're talking about Mother Nature. So who's really the one defending you out there, all right? Mother Nature is, all right? Holy wisdom is, all right? But she's doing it with what? Through the power of the Most High. This is what you have to understand, all right? And this explains this when you go into Wisdom of Solomon 10, all right? We're going to continue further. All right, so once again, the Most High is using the wind. The wind could even be used to conquer enemies in the sea. So all of what we're seeing right now, they're making ships, they're making all of this. We have to remember, at any time, that same power can be used. We don't have any power. The people of God usually doesn't have any weapons or anything. Their weapon is God. That's what it's always been. All right. When the things happen, just like at the Pharaoh time, they would be like us with no weapon, no nothing. And Babylon government, feds, whatever you want to call them, soldiers, all of them, they coming after them. All right. They have zero weapon but the Most High. And this is why they're writing these praises for us to believe and understand that God did really use his powers at a time to do this for a people. All right. And once again, someone has to come into faith to really believe these things. But how do we believe and understand? By going into history and seeing there's people that move here and that happen here. This is how we get these confirmations. All right. So we're at Isaiah 27:3.
It's the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 27, starting at the 3rd verse. I, the Lord, do keep it. I will water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I will keep it night and day. Fury is not in me. Who would set the briars and thorns against me in battle? I would go through them, I would burn them together. Or let him take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me, and he shall make peace with me. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with fruit. He had smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou wilt debate with it. He stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east wind.
All right, so just going against it, what the Most High is first dealing with Israel in a rough way, right? He's showing them who goes to battle against him, and then he shows how he makes, when they make peace with him, what he does, he makes peace with them. All right, he allows them to take root. All right, he allows them to blossom. He allows them to bud and to produce fruit in the world as a nation. All right, when he's bringing the rough winds, all right, and the day of the east wind, he'll relax that wind when it's coming towards you. All right, instead of making the east wind come toward you and destroy your life, right, and your situations. All right, so this is what he's saying, but continue.
Verse 9, by this therefore shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin, when he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder, the groves and images shall not stand up.
All right, so he's telling them this is how he's going to be purged, by doing these things. And when he goes to the altars and when he beats these altars down in these graven images and don't stand up these images, all right, because these images bring on the east wind, bring on the destruction. All right, that's what we're going to see, but continue.
Verse 10, yet the defenced city shall be desolate, and the habitation forsaken, and left like a wilderness. There shall the calf feed, and there shall he lie down, and consume the branches thereof. When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The women come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore he that made them will not have mercy on them, and he that formed them will show them no favor. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel.
All right, so he's showing here the destruction and the rehabilitation of Israel. All right, first he's destroying them, making them desolate. All right, purging them from their sins. All right, and then he's bringing them back. And then once again, when they are coming back, he allowed them to prosper. Right. But what we're also emphasizing here is that when you are doing good, when he sends the east wind, the rough wind, all right, he'll relax it around you. All right, we're at Jeremiah 18:13.
It's the book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 18, verse 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, ask ye now among the heathen who had heard such things. The virgin of Israel had done a very horrible thing.
All right, so he's saying the people of Israel, these people of Israel, the holy ones of Israel, they done a very horrible thing. All right, continue.
Verse 14, will a man leave the snow of Lebanon, which cometh from the rock of the field? Or shall the cold flowing waters that come from another place be forsaken? Because my people have forgotten me, they have burned incense to vanity, and they have caused them to stumble in their ways from the ancient paths, to walk in paths in a way not cast up, to make their land desolate and a perpetual hissing. Every one that passeth thereby shall be astonished and wag his head. I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy, I will show them the back and not the face in the day of their calamity.
All right, so we're seeing the people forget God. They burn in incense to vanity, all right, fake gods, all right, not to the Most High. They're not dealing with the Most High, not praying to the Most High, not trying to learn about the Most High, not trying to learn about the true paths of the Most High, all right, not trying to live their life towards the Most High, all right. Therefore, what does God do? He eventually makes the whole land desolate. So we're going to see that. Once again, it moves from people, right? Individuals not doing something to when the nation start doing something, and then the nation's not doing it for a while because God's given that nation to then finally, you know what? I'm going to destroy that nation. I'm going to send destruction to that nation. All right. So when they're doing this, he says, I'm going to make their land desolate. So what does he do? He sends a wind, all right, to destroy them and scatter them as a people. All right. So we're going to understand that the wind comes and it brings destruction and it destroys and it scatters itself. And also when God's saying he brings a wind into a nation, he's saying that I'm bringing a certain destruction, war, all of this that's going to scatter the people the same way the wind does. So this is a spiritual wind. This is not a, the real wind coming, but it's going to come with that as well. Because he's going to bring bad weather. Your stuff is going to, we call it, the crops are not going to grow at the right times. They're going to bring weather that's going to destroy your crops. All right. But also in your life, in the nation's life, he's saying this nation's going to now be scattered among the earth. And that's what's called the east wind. All right. That's a spiritual wind where now you as a nation, you're all over the place. And us as a nation, especially black people, Negroes, we can tell that we've been hit with a wind. Tell me where we're not at. All right. If you know a hurricane and you see the disaster of a hurricane and you see everything go everywhere, that's what happened with us. That means we got hit with the east wind. No other nation got hit with that. You don't see them over here, over there, up in the Philippines, up in India, up over there. We're all over the place. Russia, we're everywhere. All right. Africa, we reach all the way over here in North America, Spanish islands. We're all over the place. How do we reach here? How do we get here? How come no other nation? How come we don't see Asians all over there and over here and over there and over there? All right. How come we don't see the Europeans? We know how the Europeans went over there. All right. Colonization. Those times they moved over there. That's how they got there. How did we get to these places? All right. How did Native Indians reach all over these indigenous people in islands that you can't even see? They're like, how did they even get to that island? To even get to an island in some of these places, you're like, how is that even possible?
Like Sentinel Island.
Sentinel Island.
In the Indian Ocean, basically, like in the middle of nowhere almost.
Here's another island too. What's the island there? I was just looking at the island. Oh man. What's the island with the Sahara on it? It's a little island. Oh man.
What on it?
It's not by Hawaii. What is it again? Oh man. It's on the Sahara's list.
Is it in the Pacific West area?
It starts with an H. What island's like a not? I'm gonna get the island. All right. Because I was like, yo, if you look at where that is, you're like, how do these people even reach there? All right. Sovereign kings currently. I just looked up this nation the other day. Man. Not Hulu. It's one of those, not Hawaii. It's one of those smaller ones in Hawaii. I'm going to get the name. I'm not going to pass it. I get the name because even I was astonished. List of current monarchs in certain states. Okay, here we go. Bahrain, here. We're going to get it. Tonga. All right, so look at Tonga in your thing where Tonga is and how small that is. All right, so this Tonga. Let's look into your thing at Tonga and tell me how people reach over there and what boat were they using? How is that possible? All right, these are little islands. All right, to even get there right now. Right, you're gonna have to go to Fiji. From Fiji, then over there, they're far. And a small little island, and people reached over there. All right, and got scattered over there. All right, how did they get over there? All right, just look how small that is. Look how far that is. Just imagine you living over there and just, what's around. All you're seeing is water. All right, so our people got hit with the east wind. We've been scattered all over the place to places where, yo, go and check. We're over there. All right, and it's not other nations over there. It's our people.
Just a quick thing I see here. This is from CIA.gov. Just a quick Tonga background. They say the first humans arrived in Tonga around 1000 BC. So just kind of going into it, he said they've been there for a while too, and how they even get over there either.
Yeah.
But they've been there from a long time.
Long time secluded from everybody. All right. And we know that those are the tribes that were scattered before even coming to Christ, before the Jews were even scattered. These are the 10 tribes that were scattered. All right. So we're going to continue. All right. So the east wind scatters. All right. It brings desolation to a nation. It scatters them as a nation. The Negro nation has got hit with the east wind. That's why they're scattered all about. And this is what God's trying to show us, the symbolism of the east wind. All right. The east wind literally does that. But then when it does that to a nation, we're seeing them literally be scattered. But it's not a wind that scattered us. All right. That's all you have to understand, that it's spiritual. All right. So we're at Jeremiah 22:20.
Go up to Lebanon and cry, and lift up thy voice in Bashan, and cry from the passages, for all thy lovers are destroyed. I spake unto thee in thy prosperity, but thou sayest, I will not hear. This had been thy manner from thy youth, that thou obeyest not my voice. The wind shall eat up all thy pastors, and thy lovers shall go into captivity. Surely then shalt thou be ashamed and confounded for all thy wickedness. O inhabitant of Lebanon, that makest thy nest in the cedars, how gracious shalt thou be when pangs come upon thee, the pain as of a woman in travail.
All right, so we're seeing here when he's talking about Lebanon, when he's saying the wind shall eat up thy pastors and thy lovers shall go in captivity, what wind is he talking about? Which wind? East. All right, so we just went through it. All right, so it didn't say the wind there, but now we're getting the idea. What wind is he talking about here? Is the east wind. Once you talk about captivity, once you talk about eat up, once you talk about harming, we talking about the east wind. All right. So the east wind is going to eat up the pastors. The lovers shall go into captivity. This is east wind symbolism. So if you're seeing that you're seeing in your life, oh, even jail and these stuff in your life, that's east wind. If you're living a life right now that's seeing, yo, I'm getting jail, I'm getting stopped, I'm getting this, I'm going into captivity, this is east wind, all right, coming into one's life. If you see destruction coming into your life, this is east wind, all right. That means, what does that symbolize? That means something that you're doing is causing the wind to come. It doesn't come for no reason, all right. So we're at Psalms 148:7.
Praise the Lord from the earth, ye dragons, and all deeps, fire and hail, snow and vapor, stormy wind fulfilling his word, mountains and all hills, fruitful trees and all cedars, beasts and all cattle, creeping things and flying fowl, kings of the earth and all people, princes and all judges of the earth, both young men and maidens, old men and children. Let them praise the name of the Lord, for his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord.
All right, so we're seeing all these things are praising the Lord, all right? The fire, the hail, the snow, the vapor, the stormy wind fulfilling his word. So we have stormy wind that's constantly fulfilling the Most High's word. All right, so when we see a stormy wind, that's something, it's fulfilling the Most High's words. It's been sent out to do something according to the Most High. All right, so that's stormy wind. So stormy wind comes in fulfilling the Most High's word. All right, so once again, when we're seeing certain winds come into our life, we're understanding that who sent that wind? It's God that sent the wind. So we're to acknowledge what wind it is, see what's happening, all right, and then change what's going on or continue what's going on, depending on what wind you're observing is coming into your life. All right, but we're at Job 15:1.
Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite and said, Should a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind?
All right. So once again, vain knowledge, all right, knowledge that doesn't coincide with the Most High, that fills up an individual's stomach with the east wind. So what is that going to tell you? His belly is filled up with the east wind. What is that symbolizing? That they're now going to be sick in your stomach, destruction to the belly. Now, why is that happening? Because all the person likes to talk about, they don't like to talk about the scriptures. All right. And the Most High doesn't mean this on, the person comes and, on the Sabbath, they talk about the scripture and then they leave the Sabbath. You got to consistently speak about these things. All right. This has to be the knowledge. This has to be what you want to deal with. This has to be, what you're trying to get to understand the world, to better put your place in position of success in the world that we see here. Or, once again, you like vain things. God's like, fill his belly up with the east wind. All right. And that can consist of many different things, but all those things we can see that it is going to be harmful. It's not going to be good for you. All right, we're at Hosea 12:1.
Ephraim feedeth on wind and followeth after the east wind. He daily increaseth lies and desolation, and they do make a covenant with the Assyrians, and oil is carried into Egypt.
All right, so it's saying Ephraim is feeding on wind. It's saying, this brother love eating wind. All right, Ephraim. And what wind is he eating? He following after, so he's not eating after good wind. This brother loves to eat east wind. All right, and what does that mean? Daily he increaseth lies. All right, and with those lies, he's increasing his desolation. All right, and they're making covenant with those who are not with God. All right, therefore, Ephraim, God is sending east wind towards him. He's building up his own east wind. He's following after the east wind. By your actions, it's showing what wind you want to come into your life. That's what it's saying here. All right, so by Ephraim, he's feeding on wind, but he's feeding on the wrong wind. He's following after the east wind. What does the east wind consist of? Lies, desolation, vain things. All right, that doesn't coincide with the Most High. All right, so we're at Hosea 13:12.
The iniquity of Ephraim is bound up, his sin is hid. The sorrows of a travailing woman shall come upon him. He is an unwise son, for he should not stay long in the place of the breaking forth of children. I will ransom them from the power of the grave. I will redeem them from death. O death, I will be thy plagues. O grave, I will be thy destruction. Repentance shall be hid from mine eyes. Though he be fruitful among his brethren, an east wind shall come, and the wind of the Lord shall come up from the wilderness. And his spring shall become dry, and his fountain shall be dried up. He shall spoil the treasure of all pleasant vessels. Samaria shall become desolate, for she had rebelled against her God. They shall fall by the sword. Their infants shall be dashed in pieces, and their women with child shall be ripped up.
All right, so we're seeing the iniquity of Ephraim. So Ephraim is the first one. So Ephraim is speaking as Ephraim, and he was leading the 10 tribes. Those 10 tribes, all right, are the ones that were first scattered with the east wind. We just went and looked at where one of them was at in Tonga. See how far that is? We just read about this. These are the same people he's talking to here. Ephraim, we're going to get hit with the east wind. This is not the Judah. This is the first ones, right? When you look at where they were scattered to, these are the indigenous people in those islands all over those places, Tonga, Hawaii, all of that. They were scattered first before the blacks, all right? Before the Jews. All right. That's Ephraim. When we go look where they're at, they're far, extended far. Where are they coming from? They're coming from Jerusalem. How did they end up in Tonga?
That's a distance. I wonder what's that distance.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, this one too slow. That's a distance though.
All right. So we're just seeing the Most High is not playing. And then they extend all the way all to Antarctica, all different type places. All right, so we're just seeing that he's not lying, because when we could identify the people and then we go look, we're seeing, hey, these people are scattered and there's no people with them. There is no other people with them. It's just them over there. All right, and who came over there? The queen, the Britain. Britain went over there and seen them, and they have a covenant with Britain, and they're not harming. Once again, they're so far away that it took so long for people to even discover them over there. All right, and it was Britain. We had Spain, all of them was going around. It was Britain that discovered them, and they made a covenant with Britain that still stands to this day to be a friendly nation with them. right? Because the people there were so peaceful and friendly, right? They're so far away. All they have to do is just focus on themselves and study, and there's nothing there to bother. There's no distraction over there in Tonga when you're as a people way over there. You're far away from where all society was at those times. All right, so that's the iniquity of Ephraim bound up. His sin is hid, all right? Sorrows of a travailing woman shall come upon him. So he's going to feel those sorrows like a woman when she's ready to give birth, all those pains she's feeling. All right, and anybody just, maybe we could take see if we could take a trip there to as a church one day, just to hear the, in those rooms where you can hear all the different women in different rooms all giving birth at the same time and hear all the noises.
Oh, you talk about where?
In the delivery rooms, the delivery place.
I've been there several times. It's like, I remember there was one time where it was like, oh, she's bawling out, and then I heard the doctor like, that's it, give her the epidural, because I guess she didn't want it. But
you're hearing all different things, all over the place. All right, you're hearing sorrow. That's the place of sorrow. All right, before the hey, they're happy, but you're hearing When I went there, I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was like this. And you can hear everybody and all different type of people there. It's like.
Yeah, I don't think women gonna laugh at that one.
Yeah.
But just a side note there, from the distance from Israel to Tonga is 16,999 kilometers and 10,562.68 miles. So that's a real strong east wind that blow them far, man.
Far away.
Yeah, that's up, yeah.
All right. So once again, the sorrows of a travailing woman shall come upon him. So he's going to be, feeling that pain like a woman who's giving birth. He is an unwise son. So once again, he's unwise. All right. For he should not stay long place for the breaking forth of children. All right. So he's not going to stay long. All right. In breaking forth of children and all of that, because he's unwise. All right. Why? Because the east wind's going to come and it's going to destroy his lineage. All right. He will ransom them for power of the grave. All right. I will redeem them from death. Oh, death. All right. I will be thy destruction. Repentance shall be hid from my eyes. So he's saying they can't even repent right now. He's saying, though he be fruitful among his brethren. So although they had enough children and all of that, an east wind shall come, and the wind of the Lord shall come from the wilderness. All right. And his spring shall become dry. So even the east wind that comes and you're like, yo, I'm not able to give birth, or your children is getting laid up, or the children are dying, or you seen, a woman had children and a man and woman had children, 3 of the children died, they're all gone. This is the east wind that's raining down on that family right now of destruction. All right. So even though they're being fruitful, the spring is becoming dry. All right. The fountain is drying up. All right. He shall be spoiled. All right. For the treasure. All right. For all the peasants. All right, once again, his land is going to become desolate. So this is all the effects of east wind. East wind. All right, why is this happening to the land? Because she rebelled against her God. When the land is rebelling against God, he's sending natural disasters to that land. He's sending wind, hurricane, tornado. All right, earthquake. All right, but we're dealing with the wind right now. Tornado, hurricane, cyclones, these different things. Typhoon. All right, we're going to get into all of those. All right, and they shall fall by the swords. Their infants dashed in pieces. Their women with children shall be ripped up. This is an east wind. The east wind is a destroying wind. It destroys land. And if we're talking about symbolism in your life, we're talking about it's destroying your life. All right. It's bringing bad things into your life that are destruction and not peace. That's east wind. And that's because of disobeying God. All right. We're at Job 38 and 24.
By what way is the light parted, which scattereth the east wind upon the earth? And this is the book of Psalms, chapter 48, verse 7. Thou breakest the ships of Tarshish with an east wind.
All right, so by the way is light parted, which scattereth the east wind upon the earth. All right, so light is scattered upon the east wind, and I guess we're seeing this coincide here with the parting of light as well. All right, and then we see the east wind being used to break ships of Tarshish, and these ships are going to be ships that are coming against the people of God as well. All right, he's using east wind to destroy as well. So east wind brings destruction. All right, but it also could help us against the enemy. All right. So if that's not for us, the east wind's passing by us and it's going to somebody else. All right, that's to help you now. All right, he's not coming to you, but he brings the east wind to destroy your enemy. All right, and that's what we're seeing. So the east wind is a destroying wind. The east wind is used for punishing the children of Israel. Sinful actions lead to the east wind. All right, east wind destroys land and scatters a nation. East wind sends nation into captivity. All right, east wind also brings destruction into your life. All right, so we're at Jonah 4 and 6. All right, so we're almost going to close out here.
So this is the book of the prophet Jonah, chapter 4, verse 6. And the Lord God prepared a gourd and made it to come up over Jonah, that it might be a shadow over his head, to deliver him from his grief. So Jonah was exceeding glad of the gourd. But God prepared a worm when the morning rose the next day, and it smote the gourd that it withered. And it came to pass, when the sun did arise, that God prepared a vehement east wind, and the sun beat upon the head of Jonah, that he fainted, and wished in himself to die, and said, It is better for me to die than to live. And God said to Jonah, Doest thou well to be angry for the gourd? And he said, I do well to be angry even unto death.
All right, so a gourd seems like, a covering, a plant, looks like a pot kind of, but something to cover his head with. All right, a shell. All right, so some instrument to cover his head with. He's using a gourd. All right, so the Lord prepared a gourd for him, all right, to come up over Jonah, all right, that it might shadow over his head, to put over his head, to hide his grief. He's, I guess he's crying, he's hurt, right? Jonah was exceedingly glad of the gourd, all right? But God also prepared a worm in the morning, rose the next day, and it smote the gourd and it withered, all right? So now that gourd that was comforting him, it went away, all right? And it came to pass when the sun did arise, God prepared a vehement east wind. So now he's like, all right, he gave him comfort in the thing. Now he's preparing an east wind, all right? And the sun beat upon the head of Jonah. So now he's beating on his head with the sun, and now he's sending an east wind that he fainted and wished himself to die. All right, it's better for him to die than to be alive. And this is what he was saying now. All right, and God said to Jonah, thou does well to be angry for the gourd. And he said, I do well to be angry even unto death. All right, and you're just seeing right now that Jonah, when you're reading these books, Jonah was trying to run away from God. So God is showing him comfort, but then God is showing that he could also send distress. And once again, we're seeing distress is always sent with an east wind. All right, so the east wind is being sent. It's vehement, it's strong, it's powerful. All right, so we're going to go into vehement.
Vehement definition. This is Hebrew word H2759. Karishi, from H2790, in the sense of silence, quiet, that is, sultry, as noun feminine, the sirocco or hot east wind, vehement.
All right, so when it says vehement east wind, he was saying now he's sending a hot east wind to him. Now we could understand what it's saying. And the sun beat upon his head. So he got a different type of wind that came with heat now. And he's like, oh, it's hot. All right. And this wind, once again, is a hot east wind called the sirocco. All right. We're going to go into a little of that. But we're going to go to vehement etymology once again.
This is the etymology for vehement, which is an adjective, early 15th century, from Old French, vehement, vehement, quote, impetuous, ardent, end quote, from Latin vehementem, nominative vehemens, impious, eager, violent, furious, ardent, carry away. Perhaps behart, from a lost present middle participle of vehere, which means to carry.
All right. So just once again, the vehement here, we know vehement is saying to carry, eager, violent, furious, ardent. All right. But when we went into the scripture specifically, all right, into the Hebrew, it was letting us know that vehement in the Hebrew sense meant this hot east wind, a hot east wind. All right. That was salty and dry and all of that. All right. So that's what he sent. All right, so we're just going to go into the Britannica and what is the Sirocco. All right, actually Wikipedia, and then we're going to go to the Britannica, and then we'll close out.
Okay, this is the definition here for Sirocco. Sirocco, or rarely Sirach, is a Mediterranean wind that comes from the Sahara and can reach hurricane speeds in North Africa and Southern Europe, especially during the summer season.
All right, so now we're seeing where Diddy got his.
That's exactly what came to my mind.
So we're seeing Sirach. You didn't know Sirach is coming from. That's where Sirach is coming from. All right, and what does Sirach mean? It means it's hitting you strong. All right, it's a strong liquor. All right, and that's what it is, a strong alcohol. All right, Sirach. All right, Sirocco. All right, or rarely Sirach. All right, is a Mediterranean wind. All right, that comes from the Sahara, can reach hurricane speeds. All right, especially during the summer season. All right, so the Sirocco comes in with hurricane speeds. All right, and it's very aggressive. All right, we're going to go to the Britannica Encyclopedia.
Sirocco, this is out of the Britannica Encyclopedia. Sirocco, warm, humid wind occurring over the northern Mediterranean Sea and southern Europe, where it blows from the south or southeast and brings uncomfortably humid air. The Sirocco is produced on the east sides of low pressure centers that travel eastward over the southern Mediterranean. It originates over North Africa as a dry wind and picks up moisture as it crosses the Mediterranean.
All right, so this is a warm, humid wind, just like the Bible was describing it, all right, when God sent the vehement east wind. All right, this is different from the other east winds we've seen. All right, and this one was a hot wind, a humid wind that was making Jonah sweat on his forehead and all of that. All right, the sun was beaten with it. All right, so this blows right from the southeast and brings uncomfortably humid air. So I can just imagine sometimes when it's humid out there, and you're talking about now a wind that's bringing even more humid, hot air. Whew. All right, I can't even imagine what that feels like. Right. Right, but that's what he brought to discomfort Jonah. He's like, all right, at nighttime I'll comfort you, you hide your distresses. Anytime he's like, we back on it daytime. Nighttime I have mercy. Daytime, get up and do the will of the Lord. All right, get out of the house. That's what he's telling them. All right, no relaxing right now. All right, so it originates from over North Africa as a dry wind and picks up moisture and crosses the Mediterranean. All right, so once again, that hot east wind, that vehement east wind is called Sirocco, also known as Sirach. And we could just guess that Diddy got his name from the liquor from that. All right, They just changed it to a C.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, we're going to go to Philippians 4:8, and we're going to close this lesson out. Oh, you know what? I don't think it's in there. I don't think I put it in there.
Oh, no, I don't have a.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true.
All right, what's true? It's true that the wind is mysterious. It's true that those who are born of the Spirit become just as mysterious and powerful as the wind. All right, continue for us.
Whatsoever things are honest.
All right, it's honest. It's honest that when you're dealing with God, God will comfort you. All right, it's honest that when you're not dealing with God, when you're dealing with lies, when you're dealing with vain things, you are building up east wind in your belly, east wind in your life, east wind in the area that's around you, in the weather. All right, east wind is coming your way. That's for sure. When we're dealing with vanity and things that are against God, it's honest. We have to be real with ourselves that, hey, I caused this east wind. This east wind I brought upon myself. All right. And understand that with all honesty. But continue for us.
Whatsoever things are just.
All right. What's just? It's just when the Most High sends the winds into each individual's lives, into lands, all right, because they're based on what you did, all right, what you reaped, what you're sowing, all right. Either you're sowing vain things and corrupt things that are building up that east wind, all right, or you're building up other things that are bringing in a different wind, all right, and you'll see as we go on the lessons, that's going to be of benefit to you, a breeze that's going to bring benefit into your life. All right, continue for us.
Whatsoever things are pure,
All right, what's pure? Dealing with the Most High correctly so that we don't have to feel the effects of the east wind like our people did and ended up in Tonga and all different places. All right, by dealing with the Most High, we'll remain where we are and no hurricane will come into our lives, into our nation and distort our lives and destroy our homes and destroy our world that we're operating in. All right. On a day-to-day basis. All right. When I mean your world, I mean your world. All right. Your day-to-day, your career, what you're doing, your success. All right. Will be destroyed with an east wind. All right. We don't want that. All right. Continue for us.
whatsoever things are lovely,
All right. It's lovely when we're dealing with the Most High correctly. And that's what he seeks us to do. And we see that even with his mercy, even with Jonah, he's giving them comfort in the night, in the daytime. That's when he's giving them some harshness. But God has so much mercy. All right. Because this is what he's seeking for us. All right. That it's lovely when we start following the things that he's telling us and setting out for us to do. All right. Continue for us.
whatsoever things are of good report,
All right. So these things are of good report. You want a good report of dealing with the things of the Most High, seeking the Most High, seeking the things that bring calmness into your life, peace into your life, a calming breeze into your life, not things that bring in east wind, destruction, famine, unsuccessful things coming, destruction, eating up your family lineage. All right. The children, all of these things are results of east wind and disobedience. All right. We want a good report that brings peaceful breeze, calming breeze into our life. Continue for us.
if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do, and the God of peace shall be with you.
All right. So do these things and the God of peace will be with you and the east wind will go away from you and devour those who try to come against you, but not devour you. All right. And that's what we want from the Most High. All right. So with that being said, all right, it's going to be about a 3-4 part lesson. All right. It's the mystery of God, understanding of the wind. Right. We went into the wind being mysterious and we went into the east wind. All right. We still have 3 more directions of the wind to go through. With that being said, we want to say all praises be unto the Most High Almighty, Ahai Yeshua Christ, our Lord, our God, our Savior, who the world calls Jesus Christ. My name is Archbishop Shamar.
My name is Bishop Arak.
And this was our Sabbath report / lesson. Have a good week. Enjoy the Sabbath. Deal with the Lord's Day tomorrow as we acknowledge both days, the Sabbath and the Lord's Day. All right, knowing that one represents the 1,000 year of peace that he be bringing us, and one represents the age of the new heaven and new earth that we be living in for eternity. With that being said, peace and blessings.
See some blessings.
Only the children of light is gonna understand this.
For there are 3 philosophical sects among the Jews, the followers of the first of which are the Pharisees, of the second, the Sadducees, and the third sect, and the third sect, and the third sect, which pretends to a severer discipline, are called the Essenes. These last are Jews by birth, and Jews by birth,